It's the Westfalls! Hi, friends. It was so nice to meet you in person the other day. I finally put faces to the Instagram handle. Yay, we have more friends joining. Give it another minute or so before I start reading. So, a little preview of story times for the rest of the month. So February is known as Black History Month, and I wanted to honor that by reading Black authors or books with Black characters this month. So this story time is going to have an emphasis on a special poet that I really enjoy named Langston Hughes. Now traditionally he wrote for adults, but a lot of his poems have been made into children's books and collections for children, because he talks about some really important things in his poems. So like I said, today, to honor Black History Month, we're gonna have an emphasis on Black authors and Black main characters in our picture books, and today we're focusing on Langston Hughes, who is one of my personal favorites. So to start, we are going to begin with one of Langston Hughes' most famous poems called I Too Am America. This edition is kind of special, and there's an author's note I'm going to start the story by reading. So this is I Too Am America. Originally it's by Langston Hughes, and this edition is illustrated by Brian Coulier, and it's published by Simon and Schuster. So there's an illustrator's note because the illustrations are very important to this book. So I'm actually going to adjust the iPad. Please don't fall. So the illustrator's note is, this is a wonderful and well-known poem by Langston Hughes. It may be spare with words, but is loaded with power. It speaks of relentless courage and dignity to the Pullman porters who were able to show while working day in and day out in a job in a country where they suffered injustice and unfair treatment and working conditions based on nothing but the color of their skin. Although Hughes never specified any certain person in his poem, I have created a visual storyline that shows how the Pullman porters lived out the message of the poem. My story depicts the true actions of Pullman porters gathering newspapers, magazines, blues and jazz albums, and other items left behind by traveling passengers, and then, from the back of the last train car, tossing this bundle into the air, acting as a conduit of culture. And conduit is a really fancy way of saying like a representation. In this context, it can mean different things, but in this context it means representation. A distributor of knowledge to those who couldn't afford these items on their own. In my version of these events, the items lyrically soar through space and time as some land in a cotton field down in the south in the distant past, discovered by a joyous young girl who will learn from them. And a part of this bundle lands in a different, more modern time in a northern cityscape reminiscent of Langston Hughes' own hometown of Harlem, New York, where there are still eager hands and minds ready to absorb whatever knowledge they can. So I wanted to read that because there are some pages in this book that don't have any words, but the pictures are very important. So this is I Too Am America by Langston Hughes. And it starts, I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh and eat well. and grow strong. See how he's gathering stuff left behind by train passengers? Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. And here they are in that last train car throwing everything off. And it blows past the fields in the wind. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. She's discovering what they threw off. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. Here's the little boy in a more modern Harlem that the author Illustrator's Note talked about. I, too, am America. So that's the end of that poem. That's one of his more well-known poems. And then I have a couple collections, and I picked a couple poems from these that I would like to read to you. So I'm going to start with Poetry for Young People. It's a collaboration edited by David Russell and Aaron Rampersand and illustrated by Benny Andrews. It's put out by Sterling Publishing Company. And I'm going to start by reading The Dream Keeper. And the note is, dreams are a recurring theme in Hughes's work. For Hughes, poets are not just dreamers, but dream keepers for their people. So the Dream Keeper says, bring me all of your dreams, you dreamers. Bring me all of your heart melodies, that I may wrap them up in a blue cloud cloth, away from the too rough fingers of the world. And there's the Dream Keeper with the blue cut cloth. And then the last poem I'm going to read from this book is called I Dream a World. And the note says, besides poetry, Hughes was also interested in drama and wrote several plays. This poem comes from his only opera, Troubled Island, which he wrote with composer William Grant Still. So this one reads, I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its path adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. A world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth and every man is free, where wretchedness will hang its head and joy like a pearl attends the need of all mankind. Of such I dream my world. So that was the last poem from Poetry for Young People. And this one is a collection of his poetry called Love to Langston. It's by Tony Medina, illustrated by R. Gregory Christie, and it's put out by Lee and Low Books. So this is one of Langston's poems called Libraries, and I'm guessing I don't have to explain to you guys why I decided to read it. So libraries are a special place for me, with their long tables all smooth and shiny, and bookcases spilling over with books filled with wonderful worlds. Libraries are a special place for me, to sit and stay with books and books and books of endless beautiful words, keeping me company, taking my loneliness and blues away. So I'm guessing I don't have to explain why I decided to read that poem. This is another one of his poems called Jazz Makes Me Sing. Jazz makes me sing and swing, but the blues is my muse. Jazz grabs me by the collar and makes me holler. It spins me around, beating in my bones like a heart full of sound. Jazz hypnotizes me with its bloop blop dee doo bloop. I can't scat to save my life. Oopsies. The blues celebrates the bruised with sad stories and funny sounding news. It makes me think about my sadness and how I ain't alone. Yeah, it makes me think about my sadness and how I ain't alone. The blues makes me feel a whole lot better. It hits my heart and the funny bone. So I have two more poems, and I apologize that it's kind of a quick story time today, but I really wanted the emphasis to be on Langston Hughes' words. So this poem is called Poetry Means the World to Me. Poetry means the world to me. It's how I laugh and sing, how I cry and ask why. Poetry comforts me when I use jazz or the blues or the way regular folks talk, the language they use. Words don't always have to be neat and polished like a statue. They should be used to say what you like or don't like, what you see, think, or feel. Words to fight against hate and unnecessary suffering. Poetry is what I used to say, I love you. And this last poem I want to read is called Sometimes Life Ain't Always a Hoot. And it says, sometimes life ain't always a hoot or a holler, but if you manage to give it a bother, even if you miss your mother or don't like your father, there'll be better days up ahead. A whole mess of happening days up ahead. You can sit and sulk and suck your teeth and sigh, or love and laugh and live life by and by. So those were all the poems. Oh, thank you, West Falls. That's very kind of you. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to honor the fact that it was Black History Month and make sure that I have an emphasis on Black authors and Black poets and books with Black characters this month. So today I focused on Langston Hughes. He's one of my personal favorite poets. Let's see, what do we have going on in the children's department this month? I wanted to remind you guys that the library building is open on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. We're open 10 to 1 and then 2 to 5. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays we're open 10 to 1 and 2 to 7. And you're free to come in and browse. Every Wednesday we have our story time, obviously. And we have some art kits for you guys. James Baldwin have any kids books? No, but I will investigate, and the next time you come, I'll see if I can pull some for you guys. I don't believe so, but it's not uncommon for editors to take more adult poetry and reconfigure it for kids. So I'll investigate. We do have our superhero party at the end of the month. Register online and come visit me to get a super fun goodie bag that we'll all open together at the party, and then we'll probably read some superhero stories and have fun. That is all I have for you guys today. Like I said, I apologize. It's a little bit of a shorter story time than usual. But I look forward to seeing you guys in the building, and we'll definitely see you for story time next week. Bye.